Hey guys, Prangell Gaming here. Welcome to a new series that is going to be running on my channel. It's called Talk the Wall. Now, what this is it's a new, in my opinion, series on Millwall. As you guys may or may not know, I have a Millwall analysis video series that I run during the season for Millwall. And I also have a blog on WordPress called Millwall Match Reports, where I do my previews before the games, looking at historical games in the last 5 matches. I also talk about the injured players there in that preview, and that goes up at least 2 hours before the game, mainly due to me being a Millwall season ticket holder, having the time to have to walk down to the den. Then obviously I have the match report, and then I talk about the key players in the game. Towards the end of the season, I also evaluated the loanees' chances of coming into the first team. Now that is what I do, and it actually made me want to voice my opinion on Millwall more. Now this isn't just me talking and you guys listening. I want you guys to put questions in the comment section below of this video, so it isn't just my opinion. I want a Millwall voice through this series that will hopefully be weekly. So let's get into this video. Today's topic is transfers and looking at the club after last season's playoff final defeat. So in terms of welcoming players into the club, we have 3. David Wylde, Shaun Hutchinson and Greg Wylde. And there have been also a lot of rumours that I've heard about the potential signing of John Akinse off of Barnet, but that was before I heard that Harris said to be done ultimately in the transfer window. Now, what do I make of Harris's transfer antics? Well, I think it's great to have signed a centre-back after the departure of Mark Beavers, who was such a key part of Millwall's defence last season. We also signed Greg Wylde, who can play on the left, and he's a direct bit of competition for Shane Ferguson, who was such a great signing last season. And it's great to have competition in as many positions as possible. And finally, we also acquired the services of David Wylde from Southend. I may have said that wrong, but he can play on the right side of the wing and the left side of the wing. But I have also heard that he can play in the centre attacking midfielder role and also as a centre midfielder. But I wouldn't say to actually expect him to play as a centre midfielder, because Millwall centre midfielders usually are holding midfielders that sit back and attack when needed. But the one thing that I know is Wylde will fit in the void left by the right midfielder, and that will give experience to the team. Obviously, we have Fred, who needs experience, and I think that working with Wylde, he will have a positive effect because Wylde's work rates are fantastic. Let's break down more about what these signings will bring to the team. With Wylde, as I said, it's ultimately is the experience and filling the void left by and not being able to sign both loanees in Jed Wallace, who's back with Kenny Jackett at Wolves, and Chris Taylor, who we were trying to sign because he was a free agent. However, Taylor chose to sign for Bolton alongside his friend and ex-Millwall player Mark Beavers. Wylde scored 3 goals last season and got 4 assists. I believe that he may not score many goals, but he will set up much more for Millwall because that is the role he'll be playing in. I think Wylde will be a great signing, but not the best, because the player that I'm about to talk about next is the player that I believe is going to be the best signing at Millwall. And that player that I think will be the best signing is the new centre-back, Shaun Hutchinson. I think this because he's strong and pacey, which really is what we need in that back line of ours. I believe he can form a partnership with either Byron or Tony, depending on who plays in the centre of our defence. Now, personally, I think we should put Byron and Shaun Hutchinson together because they're both tall, and that's what worked last season with Beavers and Webster. But whatever system or players that Harris decides to use, I think that it will be still involving Hutchinson, as I believe the defence is going to be a key part of next season, and I believe Hutchinson will be a part of it. Hutchinson struggled to get game time last season at Fulham, and I don't know what the reason for that is, but should he stay fit, then I believe he'll play the majority of the games. The final signing was Greg Wylde, so what does he bring to the Lions? Well, straight away, without seeing him play for the Lions, I can say pace and trickery. He will also be involved in a lot of goals, as he was involved in 15 goals for Plymouth Argyle last season, and he was one of the main reasons why they were in the playoffs. Wylde is more known in Scottish football, but who's to say he cannot be an amazing signing by Harris? Before we end this, let me tell you where I think the Lions technically have to improve still. The first area would be the centre of midfield. I do like both Williams and Thompson, but I think Abdu is getting older and slower, so I believe we need another midfielder just to cover and add competition to the middle of the pitch. The other area that I believe we'll need to strengthen is the striker area, as I believe Millwall need a strong striker, someone who can win the ball in the air, because Morrison sometimes wins the ball, but he will still miss the majority, and Gregory is strong but not tall enough to win the ball all the time. Who? Well, that is a question. Just to end this off, let me tell you the Millwall team for next season that I would have if Tony Craig was the captain and if Steve Morrison was the captain. Right, so this is the team that I would be using if Tony Craig was the captain. So in goal, we've gone with Jordan Archer. The left back, I've then gone with Tony Craig. As I said before, Shaun Hutchinson and Byron Webster will be the 2 centre-backs in my team if I was to pick it. And then Marlon Romeo, who's back from his suspension, will be playing in the right back area, and I think he's going to be very, very important to our season. The left midfielder is Ferguson. The centre midfielders are Williams and Ben Thompson. I think these two are great holding midfielders, and I think they will be the right players to have in that team. The right midfielder is David Rowell, and then the two strikers are O'Brien and Gregory. Now, I haven't put Morrison in there because I think that O'Brien and Gregory need to tap into that potential of making a partnership together. They're both really, really good strikers, and they showed it on the telly at Sky against Burton Albion, so I think there could be something there. They just need to practice more and more together and put it to practice on the pitch. Now, this is the team for if Steve Morrison was the captain. So Jordan Archer would remain as the goalkeeper. The left back would then be Joe Martin. The two centre backs would be Hutchinson and Webster, remaining the same. I'd take Craig straight out that team. The right back is Romeo. The left midfielder will remain as Ferguson. Now, the centre midfield has one change in Jimmy Abdu and Ben Thompson playing there. Now, Abdu would be there because Morrison's a little bit slow and we need someone to cover and stay more defensive, and Abdu will do that because it's one of his best assets at the club. The right midfielder will remain as Worrell, and the two strikers will be Steve Morrison, who would then be the captain, and Lee Gregory. Now, the next episode of Talk the Wall will be next week, and I'll be talking about the club in more depth, talking more about Mill's chances of promotion. As I said earlier, feel free to put questions in the comments section of this video and tell me the team that you'd use if you were Harris. I will give answers to the suitable questions and say any opinions that you guys have in the next video. Until next week, like, comments, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.